The night was heavy with rain and secrets. Thunder rolled across the lonely Texas hills as a woman hurried through the muddy streets of Willow Creek, clutching her worn shawl tighter around her shoulders. Her boots splashed through puddles, her breath coming in sharp bursts as she glanced behind her. The glow from the saloon spilled into the street, full of laughter and liquor, yet for her, it was the edge of a nightmare. Inside waited the men who had cornered her with threats she couldn't fight. Her farm was gone, her savings drained, and tonight, the banker had made his final offer: marry him, or lose everything she had left of her late husband's life. The wooden doors creaked open as she stepped in, soaked and trembling, drawing every eye in the smoky room. Men paused their card games, mugs clinked to a stop, and whispers rippled through the crowd. At the bar stood Clayton Rudd, the man who had hunted her down for months. He smiled when he saw her, thin and cruel. "Evenin', darlin'," he said, his voice slick as oil. "Did you come to settle your debt?" The woman didn't answer. Her heart was pounding so loudly it drowned out the old piano tune. She wanted to run, but there was nowhere left to go. "You know my offer," Clayton continued. "One little I do, and your problems vanish. You get to keep your land, and I get a wife. Fair trade, ain't it?" His grin widened, and the crowd chuckled uneasily. Her lips trembled, words dying in her throat. But just as Clayton reached for her arm, a deep voice cut through the noise, calm but sharp as a blade. "She's already married." The room fell silent. Every head turned toward the doorway. Standing there, framed by lightning, was a tall stranger, broad shoulders beneath a rain-soaked coat. A wide-brimmed hat shadowing eyes that gleamed like steel. He stepped forward, boots thudding against the floorboards. His gaze locked on Clayton. "You got a problem with that?" he asked evenly. Clayton blinked, startled. "And who the hell are you supposed to be?" The stranger's hand brushed the edge of his coat, where the faint outline of a revolver glinted. "Her husband," he said simply. Gasps rippled through the room. Even she froze, confusion flashing in her eyes. But when the stranger turned to her, his voice softened. "Ain't that right, darlin'?" His eyes were kind, steady, reassuring, asking for trust without words. For a heartbeat, she didn't move. Then she nodded faintly. "That's right," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. "My husband." The room buzzed with shock. Clayton's face darkened with fury. "You lying," he began, but the stranger took a single step forward, his presence like a storm about to break. "You got something to say about my wife?" he asked coldly. The banker's courage faltered. "This isn't over," he spat, backing away. "You can't hide behind him forever." Then, with one last glare, he stormed out into the rain. The stranger turned back to her. "You all right?" he asked quietly. She nodded, still shaking. I don't even know who you are." He gave a faint smile. "Name's Cole. Didn't seem right to let a lady get cornered by a snake like that." She looked down, voice trembling. "You didn't have to step in. He's dangerous." "So am I," he said with a small shrug. Then his expression softened. "But I'll leave when you want me to. Just thought you could use a husband tonight." Outside, the rain fell harder. He walked her home through the muddy road, saying little. The small cottage looked weary under the storm, its paint peeled, the fence leaning, the porch lantern flickering weakly. Inside, she lit a small fire while he stood awkwardly by the door, dripping rainwater onto the floorboards. "You can dry off by the fire," she said hesitantly. He nodded, removing his hat. Without it, he looked younger, though his eyes told stories of years and scars. "You got anyone else here?" he asked quietly. "Just my boy," she said. "He's asleep." They sat in silence, the fire crackling between them. She stole glances at him, the stranger who'd just saved her name. His hands were rough and scarred, a worker's hands. Yet his voice carried the calm of a man used to command. "You ain't from around here, are you?" she asked. "Just passing through," he said. Headed west, maybe north. Don't much care where. As long as it's quiet. You don't talk like a drifter, she murmured. He smiled faintly. Maybe I ain't. The next morning, Clayton came back, shouting threats from the road. Cole stepped out onto the porch, calm as ever. You lookin' for trouble, banker? He called. Clayton's sneer wavered. You can't fool me. You ain't her husband. Cole's jaw tightened. You want to test that theory? His hand drifted near his holster, and Clayton froze. After a long, tense moment, the banker turned his horse around and galloped off. Cole watched until he vanished. Then turned back toward the house, where she stood at the door, awe and gratitude written across her face. Days passed. Cole fixed the roof, repaired the fence, and quietly became part of her world. Her boy, shy at first, followed him everywhere, asking questions, laughing for the first time in months. Cole taught him to ride, to fish, to be brave. And every evening, as the sun dipped below the hills, the woman would find herself watching the stranger, his sleeves rolled up, his laughter warm and easy, and her heart would ache with something she didn't want to name. But one day, a black carriage rolled up the dirt road. Out stepped a man in a fine suit, calling out, "Mr. Walker. The ranch foremen are waiting for orders." The woman froze. The truth came out like a thunderclap. Cole wasn't a drifter at all, he was Cole Walker, owner of the largest ranch in the county, one of the richest men in Texas. She stared at him, betrayal and disbelief flooding her chest. You're a rancher," she whispered. He looked down, guilt flickering in his eyes. Didn't want to be treated different. Just wanted to help. So. You lied to me. No, he said quietly. I just didn't tell you what didn't matter. Tears burned in her eyes. It mattered to me, she said. Everything you did, I thought it came from kindness, not guilt. He stepped closer, voice rough with emotion. It did come from kindness. But it turned into something else. I didn't plan it. But I can't stop it now. She swallowed hard, her heart racing. What are you saying? I'm saying, he breathed, that pretending to be your husband was the easiest lie I ever told, because it felt like the truth. For a moment, neither spoke. Then, slowly, she lifted her eyes to his. And something unbroken stirred between them, something real. The storm had passed, but for the first time, they both knew it had changed them forever that night. Silence hung between them like fog. She stood on the porch, the moonlight brushing her face, her heart torn between anger and longing. Cole approached slowly, his voice low. I never meant to fool you, he said. I just wanted to be a man you could trust, without the name, without the money. Her eyes shimmered. You could have trusted me with the truth. He nodded, pain flickering in his gaze. You're right. I was a coward. Then he took her hand gently. But I'd rather be a poor man by your side than a rich one without you. The words broke her guard. Tears fell, and she stepped into his arms, the world around them dissolving. For the first time since her husband's death, she felt safe again. The rancher who once hid his name had given her something far greater, hope. And beneath the quiet stars, she whispered, Then don't ever leave again. He smiled softly. Not unless you ask me to, darlin'.